Good evening, and welcome to another edition of. Uh, I was trying to type something, but I didn't get it all in. Of After Dark, and if your name shows up, kind of like Richards does as Facebook user, please go to streamyard.com forward slash Facebook
it.
to add the permission, and we will actually be able to talk to you by name.
Yes.
I just hate having to do it every 2 weeks.
I don't know. Do you clear your cache all the time?
No, I don't. So I don't understand.
And there's the address
There we
for
go.
you Facebook users. I want to say happy Friday to Fran Booth. Hey there, Fran.
And I'll tell you what, that lady, after she retired, became, let me help with everything. Because I seen her in 2 different meetings this past week.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, bad news. We had another Star Trek alum pass away this week, or today.
Louise Fletcher.
Thank you. Louise Fletcher.
Kai Wynn.
Kai Wynn.
What about you YouTube users, Fran?
And YouTube doesn't require the permission to show up, so we get to see Fran all the time.
Yeah.
However, I think she got a couple suggestions in the last meeting of how she might be able to join us on live, and I'm wondering if it worked.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try and send over the invite to Fran and see if she can come in. Give me a second to.
Yeah, but on the subject of Louise Fletcher's passing, she must have been a really decent human being to be able to play such a vile character so well.
Well, I figure if you can play Nurse Ratched in Once Over the Cuckoo's Nest, she could play anybody. She did that one great. She did that one.
Oh yeah, but those terrible baddies characters are always played by the nicest people.
Right.
Generally speaking.
Well, generally, yes.
Well, there's always exceptions, but stereotypes exist for a reason, folks.
Yeah, well, truthfully, her character played the character. She played the character as if she was the good guy. It was just that little twist in the writing, truthfully, because he didn't have to be as sinister. She played a straightforward person for most of the role.
And I think that's why it was
season 2. She supported the Circle coup. She just didn't get caught. So
Great
I'm
writing.
not sure if that's true. Because she just doesn't get caught a lot. Like, there's Inklings, and Kira's really suspicious, and Cisco's really suspicious, but she's Teflon, and nothing sticks. So there are definitely some times where she's up to shenanigans as a character. In fact, her whole ascending to Kai is just a beautiful exploit of politics within Bajor.
But the other thing with Deep Space Nine is they had a lot of dual-faced good guys and bad guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's face it, Cisco was one sometimes.
Yeah, Cisco, every time he would decide, I'm all for genocide right now.
Well, I mean, not sure. I'm not sure necessarily genocide. He was willing to kill a few people, though.
A few people? Didn't he, wipe out, a whole planet or tell them that he was going to wipe out a whole planet?
Yes, he threatened to wipe out a marquee planet, and then
Had a colony there. Yeah, had a colony there, and actually fired the weapon and started the process. Everybody got off the planet.
So
I mean, they didn't take him super seriously until he launched it. Like, he literally had to, all right, they're calling it. I got to show I'm not bluffing. But, I mean, in that episode, like, he is literally set up with, and then, let's face it, Cisco several times gets that blank check from Starfleet. Get it done. Don't care how. We'll fix it later. Quite often, he gets this check that says, whatever, just get it done. And Eglinton was one of those missions where he would literally sort of handed a thing of like, well, not said in dialogue, do whatever it takes.
yeah,
Definitely an implication of do whatever it takes, and we'll try not to prosecute you later, kind of thing. Because, he literally gets pulled off. Oh yeah, whatever. And then Eglinton absolutely hoses the guy that's supposed to catch him instead. And he's like, "Go get him, because we're screwed. We'll be fixing this for days.
Right.
Go on, go get him. Don't care. Don't really care." And Ross does the same thing several times, where he's just like, "Get it done. Get it done. Get the Romulans on board. We don't care how." That's the biggest check he ever cashed. Was the one where
Small with a small.
So the one thing I wanted to talk about this week was something we talked about last time. The amount of sci-fi in TV right now.
Right.
Yep.
I'm behind.
Join club. I'm totally behind.
It's like I don't have enough hours to watch all the shows that are popping up now, and it's just, come on. I think Wednesday's going to be coming out. You got Andor now.
Yeah, I'm 2 behind in Star Wars already. I'm a season behind on Lower Decks.
And the Lower Decks that I have seen so far has been well above last season as far as watchability.
Hi, Donnie.
How you doing, Donnie?
We just talked about that, Donnie.
Yeah, Don.
And the premieres have just been amazing. And then on top of that, we've got game premieres coming out and cons that they're doing more virtual stuff with that. If you literally had time, you could basically fill 24 hours a day for 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Just doing all the sci-fi.
I'm kind of expecting them to do something off one of the other popular shows, like CSI Starfleet. You remember when they were talking about that? That would be awesome. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow, the Jetsons 60 years? It was 20 years older than I am? Wait.
Yeah, apparently.
Dang.
I was 4 years old when that thing came out. Oh, God.
Doing good, Arlene.
Everybody tonight is happy. No, I'm kidding.
So...
happy, joy.
Now, I don't know if I'm jealous of the kids of nowadays or feel sad for them.
I feel sad because they don't get what we have.
There was a flood back when, let's see, when I was in high school. If you got the British TV, you got Doctor Who, you got some Star Trek here and there. You got some of the offshoots, Andromeda and all the other shows, and maybe Stargate. but there was times when you didn't have anything for 4 or 5 years in a row.
True.
True.
Who? I can't see
Kay
that,
Clan-
Fran. Oh, Kate Clancy?
Jay Clancy.
I think
Was
there was
he one of
somebody else
your?
passed
Yeah.
away.
Okay.
Didn't somebody else pass away also this week? I thought I saw.
Some in the fleet. I hadn't
Yeah.
heard of anybody, but then again,
But like I said, I kind of feel sorry for them just because there's an overload. And see, not even talking about that. That's the American side of stuff. Now we're getting a lot more dubs and translations of the stuff that come out of Japan and Korea that people really like too. So, like I said, you don't have to look far to find sci-fi now.
yeah. Well, back in the late 70s and early 80s, well, in the mid 70s even, there were shows that they were British. Was it UFO was a big one. That was only done for a season, but it was very popular where I was.
Yep.
And of course, we had the animated series for 2 years. Yeah, but wait a minute, we're both older than Dust, Fran. Or that's what my daughter tells me. Um, we had those Hanna-Barbera space ones. There was one space
Yes.
cartoon that looked more like the Flintstones than anything. Not the Jetsons, not the Jetsons.
They were in like red and white uniforms with
Something like that.
helmets, and one was like a monkey guy and all.
Hmm. And then there was that one show that was football related. Everybody was a big football player and main characters, and the whole town were football crazy, and they all wore, you know, and it was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon,
Yep.
an evening cartoon. I forgot what it's called, but then there was Space 1999 that came around in about
Mm-hmm.
70, 75, I think, 74, 75.
Around there.
Hmm.
And then
Doctor
Battlestar
Who,
Galactica showed up.
yeah, Doctor Who was shown on the PBS stations back then, at least once a week. I know here in this town, the cable had channel 11, and it was on every Sunday night. And that was the night for Monty Python's Flying Circus and Doctor Who. And then they were showing back when I lived here a documentary on Edward the Seventh. It was a docudrama, which you can now find on YouTube. So um, it was like that at night on Sunday nights, watching Monty Python, Doctor Who, and then this docudrama. Uh, Henry, the Six Wives of Henry VIII was on, and some other docudramas of that nature after Doctor Who. So, and that was Channel 11 here out in Chicago. It was on various ones because when I moved down to Mississippi, they had Doctor Who on in the afternoons. So on their Mississippi Public television stations. So, but anyway,
Would that be it?
what's that? Oh yeah, the whatever the bunch or
Where's Huddles?
uh, where's Huddle? Yeah, that's not. That looks like actually I recognize the R and the the football uniforms. So
Hanna-Barbera made a lot of TV shows.
yeah. Hmm.
It's true.
I didn't realize how many Scooby-Doo TV offshoots there was.
Yeah.
Motion picture.
Well,
Commander Cody and Rocket.
yeah. Back
Rocket J.
from
Squirrel.
the 50s and 40s, the Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon serials back then.
Yep.
That went to television in the 50s. Superman. We're talking about
Remember
the
that
adventures of.
they would have the special who jumps over this gorge, the stuntman shows that would break in on different weekends.
The ABC Wide World of Sports. They showed the Evil Knievel. It showed Evil Knievel trying to jump the Snake River Canyon.
Oh yes, I
in Idaho.
remember that.
And
Did he break like 37 bones or something when he crashed?
yeah, he had a lot of metal in his. He set off alarms at the airport when he went through the metal detector.
See,
So,
I'm not quite as old as a few of you, but I still remember having a 13-inch TV that the viewable size of my TV was half the size of my laptop.
Yeah, mine.
And
I
black
had
and
one
white.
of those that were black and white. Yeah. Then his son did the jump he couldn't do at that water fountain in Las Vegas. About 10, 15 years ago. So we're talking
Somebody's
about
launching missiles.
Yeah, the Bellagio fountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
But has everybody been keeping track of the Artemis 1 mission?
The one that got canceled like 700
Yeah.
times in a row?
Yeah, it's already been canceled like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
supposed to be going for it again on Tuesday.
Sure.
One of my friends keeps trying to go over there to take pictures of it as it launches,
Uh-huh.
and has already wasted like 3 trips to do it. Granted, we're only 2 hours away, but that's a lot of gas when you figure getting over there and they go, oh, it's canceled.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, the first 2 times, I guess the engine's messed up.
Yeah, it was a valve in the engine. The last 2 times were the same valve, and it ended up being a feeder valve connected to the engine itself, not the other side. Where they pump from the hole into it.
Right.
They just replaced the valve, and then they tested it yesterday. They did what is it called, a static firing test on it, where they started the engines for like 5 seconds.
If it doesn't go off sometime this weekend, it's going to have to be drugged back to the
back to
building because the hurricane that's
Mhm.
coming around.
Well, that hurricane already came, but there is another hurricane behind it.
I'm talking about the one that's supposed to get up to us by Wednesday.
Okay, well, there is a hurricane out there that hit Bermuda
Right.
today. That's not the hurricane you're talking about, though.
Yep, that one
It's heading north.
That one decided to go towards England.
Yeah, actually, it's going toward Nova Scotia and New Brunswick.
Yep.
It's going to skirt. It's going to skirt New England.
But I saw that one go, and I'm like, "Oh, we're in the clear." And my friend goes, "Yeah, there's another hurricane coming." I was like, "Wait, where?"
I don't think you should live in Florida if you don't want to deal with hurricanes.
No, I didn't say I didn't want to deal with them. I know how to deal with them. I just didn't realize that it was.
Yes, it did. They're still having power problems from the last hurricane. The last, whatever that was that hit them.
Yeah, Puerto
It was a
Rico.
hurricane.
That big hurricane wiped out their whole infrastructure.
Yeah.
It hit us too. I can't remember the name. We were without power for about 3 or 4 days because it knocked out the whole ridge line in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That was almost 5 years
Well,
ago.
you did live there, didn't you, Fran? Didn't you live in South Florida at one time? I mean, South Texas? South Texas.
Instead, she lives a little bit north of
In
that where she has
Colorado.
to deal with snow.
Yeah, lots of it.
Yes, but the difference is snow, you're not really getting away from it. Hurricanes, you can take a vacation. Hop in the car and go visit people up north.
Or at least in the Midwest. Because it's very unlikely a hurricane's going to come up that far, except when it hits Texas. And even then, it probably won't.
Somebody goes, that's why I moved to California. I said, yeah, where you can be shook to death in your sleep.
That's right. You'll fall off into the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, but that's a very small piece of California, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, if you live in Sacramento, although you'd have to live in Sacramento.
Yeah, that would be the only big problem.
You're pretty far from
there in Fresno. Although those two places would feel the effects of it, they'd survive. Whereas Oakland and San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Monterey, the whole peninsula there in Mexico, Baja California. We'll just say the whole thing, not just Tijuana, but the whole thing, right off into the ocean.
Well, think of it as an urban renewal project.
Yeah.
Bingo.
That's a hell of an urban
Well, we're not any safer down here. I mean, even though we're about 400 miles away from the New Madrid Fault, that could activate at any time. Remember, it reversed the Mississippi River there for a few hours and created a new Lake Reelfoot. So, yeah, that would be some urban renewal with all the.
Yeah, I know, but that's not going to be like a level 8 though on the Richter scale.
Technically, we should call it urban terraforming.
Because that's not like it's not the same kind of grind.
Right? Yeah, it's not. There's a grind, but there's but you got to remember when that original earthquake happened in New Madrid back in 1830, I think it was 34 or something like that. They felt it all the way in Boston. Church bells were ringing in Boston, Philadelphia, New York. There weren't too many bells in Chicago or Rockford because Rockford was incorporated in 34. So, but we got a lot. But hopefully by the 24th century, we'll have had ways to prevent earthquakes. Not everywhere, but on Earth.
Well, by then, hopefully, we're no longer nuclear testing on the fault lines.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's probably a good idea to stop doing.
Yes. I gotta say that. I gotta agree with that. Is what I should say.
When you realize where the test site was, and then you look at all the lines, and they're like, "Wait, that was right there."
200 miles away, and they're testing nuclear weapons in the ground.
We knew, like, I always find it funny that, like, the amount of nuclear testing we did. I mean, really, it's like, we figured out how to do it. Did you
Let's
need
do
to
it
press
again.
100 more times? Really? Really?
We got to see how it reacts to people standing out in the middle of nowhere.
And you know that one corporal pushing the button, watching it the whole time, his wife is telling him, "Why are you glowing when you come home?"
It's my youthful radiance, he says. Oh, you're 55, though.
My job is to light people's lives.
Right. Well, look at that one island. They did the testing, Bikini Atoll. No one can live on it yet. They could send people there for a short amount of time now, but no one can live in that area. And that's the truth with some of the places in Nevada. You wonder why the government owns so much of the desert out there or whatever in those areas. It's because of all that radiation.
Is that why it's still legal to kill people in that 50 square miles? Because
I think they're
technically
going
they're
to die
already dead.
anyway. Yeah, they're already dead. So now I am part of the Corps of Engineers. Oh, terraforming. You guys. Okay.
Fran, we
David,
exist
All right,
purely for
Fred,
your
you get on
entertainment.
fixing those places that are radioactive now.
wait a minute. I am right. Russia's trying to recreate Chernobyl.
Yeah,
Yes.
from that other one.
Well, they've
Yeah,
been bombing. They've been bombing the dams near the nuclear power plant,
Oh,
and Chernobyl happened in Ukraine.
yes, sir.
They did.
And they actually captured Chernobyl for a while there and then withdrew.
Yes, and they exposed a bunch of their soldiers to it because they went and dug in the forest.
Yep. And it had bunkers all over the facilities.
Just
Those poor guys. What is, oh boy.
look, I know you've
There's
taken
one.
out all your textbooks, but your leadership should know so that you don't do that.
It's supposed to be a freer country now, but forget it. It ain't anymore.
I would argue Russia is probably worse now than it was under the Soviets
Yeah.
for freedom.
What do they call it in China?
I used to know the answer to that, but I don't know.
Capitalism. It's a form of capitalism that's under communism. And they mastered it.
Well, they do have like 17 billion people, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have lots of people to sort of.
Well, there was an earthquake over in Mexico City last week, and just before that one, there was a 7-point-something earthquake off the coast of Taiwan that damaged a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what I don't understand is you're firing at nuclear power plants that during this season, Russia would actually take the brunt of the fallout.
mm-hmm.
We've never accused Putin of being smart.
They forget that. Yeah, that's the thing. Putin has never been accused of being smart, although he's like Trump when it comes to saying, hey, I'm the smartest guy in Russia or the smartest guy in the United States.
I'm not starting that fight.
No, I don't want you to, but I'm just giving an example,
I'd offhand say that Stalin is probably smarter than Putin, but not by much.
Mm-hmm. No, he was. At least he was, while he was alive, he was Teflon, which is called the governor of Florida or whoever it was you were talking about earlier today. But anyway,
He probably had a better military might.
Well, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Questionable.
Well, he did create the gulag system. Well, the gulag system was actually created before that, but he
Con-
put it to good use.
Considering the tanks that they pulled out of storage that were made under Stalin to
Hmm.
use it in the Ukraine lately.
And
Well, the
everybody else
35,
supplying them. Yeah.
whatever. Quit telling me what to do. You're not my mom.
Hey, Mom.
No, she's Fran. That's more power.
Yeah, well, she's a fleet admiral.
No.
Yeah.
She
You
might
don't
be
know
able to
my
call
mom.
your mom and tell her to or ask her to have you smile.
Yeah.
Yes.
If she knew
Good
the
luck with
number.
that.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
She does have connections. Remember, she said she was older than dirt.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe she knows the doctor and can get in the TARDIS and go back in time and tell your mom, I am Fran, do it.
Yeah, but then she will have told me to smile like 15 years ago. And what good is that going to do now?
Exactly. John has a great point.
Hmm.
I'm just saying. I mean,
It
my
was
mom.
about 30 years ago, and he still wouldn't have done it.
So, any of y'all got con pictures from last weekend, or none of y'all part of the group that had the con this week?
Didn't go to any
On
con.
last week.
I know a bunch of people were saying they had cons, so
Oh, I almost picked up on a few cons.
Mine is currently on mine are currently on the phone.
No, what? No share. Fine.
so there is that new news broadcast, and just so that everybody knows, if you're doing a con, take video or pictures of your booth and all, and talk to Ken. I can never think of his name. His last name, I only call him Ken.
That's not actually that unusual.
Yeah. Ken Kopiski. And I am definitely going to look that up so I can get the correct spelling. He wants to feature people actually out and about at cons on each of the audiovisual news broadcasts they're going to try and do about once a month. That would be Ken Kopacki.
That would be why I don't remember it either.
Well, if you have trouble getting a hold of him, you can also contact Fran and she'll get it to him.
Okay.
One of the things that she's doing is being kind of a liaison so that people can get information quicker. So definitely share it on the members' Facebook page. If you remember, every time we've gone to a con or something, I try and put up one or two pictures and show what's happening at the booth. That way you get ideas. The man in the middle right now, who's being quiet, is right in front of, he just changed it out from the Enterprise. Now it says the Russell Camp. But that little light box behind him is part of our booth display that you see at his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
And
that baby right there.
And then he's been working on his daughter's 29th birthday party, which is a Star Trek-based birthday party on the 8th. And we're going to do a couple live broadcasts of it while we're there to show some of the stuff.
Because it's a preview of SYFY Bartow setup.
Yeah.
It'll have the transporter room. It'll have several pieces of cargo. It'll have 3 pattern enhancers. There is a deuterium injector core, and a few other things that I put together. Just to name a few.
So, and the one cool thing is Drew and our ship is not the only one working on this. Drew partnered up with Mike from the Amelia Earhart, and they've been working on making these props so that when we do go to SYFY Bartow, it's going to be looking cool. And we're going to take some video of that, and it will also be on the as a interview. We're going to try to interview Sean and put it on the. They asked for it for the next engineers broadcast as well, because we want everybody that can come on down. Bartow's not a big town, but Polk County was where the first real theme park was made. It used to be called Cypress Gardens. Now it's called Legoland. So if nothing else, you can come to where everybody in the world comes and vacations. Where do the people that live in the vacation spot vacation?
Anywhere but the vacation.
Anywhere but here, yeah. Okay, so there was one minor change.
Oh,
the transporter room. Okay, which one is it?
is bigger.
This is the one we're going to make. It's up there. If you want to share it.
Yeah, I'm popping it up. Hold on.
And the cabinets on the side there, we're going to turn into armed weapons cabinets because Mike and I are working together with our 3D printers to print dolphin phasers and phaser rifles. So, and then that'll lead into our tent, which will be right where the Earhart is sitting, because Freddie has some restrictions that we are going to honor him with.
But the Earhart and Russell Camp have been working together to build this stuff, and we also are partnered with the Andromeda, Jess, who is currently putting a write-up of how to be a Ferengi cosplayer.
Yes.
She will actually be doing the bartending for the Klingon bar. That's going to be right beside us where CAG is. So we're going to have a block of Star Trek.
With this to make people behave.
Hold on. Give me a second. I should have. Hold on. I'm popping you up now. I didn't grab my mouse.
No worries.
So, like I said, look for that on the next episode of the Corp of Engineers audio video broadcast news. We're actually going to have a lot more details and pictures, and some of the video from last year's broadcast that Jeff helped us out with are going to be popped in to do a little Q&A on the event. So anybody else have anything?
Would you like to see me getting choked?
Yeah.
All right. Let me share.
Go ahead. Just click share, and I'll pop you in. Is this part of your LARP group?
Why are you being a pain?
Dip pain.
Sorry.
Use your grown-up words.
What? Oh, here it is.
Klingon gotcha.
Yeah, this is I can't remember his name right now. But he's with Keg. He's with the SYFY. And he chokes us a lot, actually.
You guys have
Kind of a running gag.
The CAG around here uses us as security.
This is me at the 501.
Where's your weapon?
I borrowed one. I gotta finish that phaser, actually. Yeah.
A Starfleet Marine without a weapon. Isn't that almost
Yeah, whatever.
running naked?
I have a phaser that I'm gotta fix because our wonderful purser gave me one of the first prints that someone tried to do for us of a dolphin, and it's not so bad at the top, but on the bottom it's like stringy. So I filed it and I have to fill it because the easiest way for me to fix it is to fill it.
Yeah, one thing you can do is take like a lighter and lightly pass over it a little bit to get rid of some of the string.
Yeah.
You've got the filler that he's got.
Dimensional paste.
Where's the one?
Got this one. Also a newer product out that actually works quite well. It's called plastic wood.
Give me a second. I think that's what is in my drawer. I'm trying to.
That works quite well.
Yeah. I've got a couple like modeling paste things.
I don't know anything about modeling. I've never done it.
Well, I've done it for other things, so that's what I went. I went with some products that were like closer to what stuff I'd already handled.
Well, that's always the best way to do it.
Yeah, so I have some tools and stuff. I just haven't sat down and actually done the work. Mostly,
I really should take the time to finish this one.
Yeah, the camera ain't liking it.
Ah! Dang it.
I've still got to finish the screen, but
the Klingon
this
knife.
is for our for our Ferengi.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's nice. So did you print that and then like make it look like wood, or is it what?
What's that? This?
Yeah, what's in your hand?
This is a tricorder.
Yeah, no, I know, but what's
It's a
in
copper
it?
color.
Oh, okay. It has a grainy like a
In
wood
the
grain.
in the little image, yeah. It actually looks like it's ribbed all the way down.
Oh, okay. I just
But that I printed the head of the staff, and then I actually found a branch that was perfect. I brought it home. I peeled the outer bark off of it, rubbed it down really hard with oil, and this bright red patina came out, and then I varnished it right there.
oh, well, that makes sense.
So
I meant to get some cherry wood in like a staff length because my friend was cutting down a cherry tree, but the problem was she was 600 kilometers away.
yeah, that would be a pain in the backside.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like one of those things of like it'd be fine if you had somebody come pick it up.
There's a house about, I don't know, 3 blocks from here, and they had this beautiful cherry tree in their backyard with a dead branch, and it always hung there. It's like nobody took care of it. I'm driving by one day, and that dead branch is sitting on the side of the road, and it ended up in my truck, and it came home with me.
I can't imagine why.
I'm like, no, you don't do that. I still have 3 chunks about 2.5, 3 feet.
I have a wand somewhere that needs to be varnished, but I've forgotten where I put it. It's some box
Varnish? What kind of wood is it made from?
Cherry.
Cherry? Then you just, all you want to do is seal it. You can either rub it with linseed oil.
Yeah.
And that takes a 1.5 tons of work. Or you buy Helmsman polyurethane, which is a little bit different. It's a nautical grade. And it seals better, and it makes it absolutely waterproof. And you can literally dip it, pull it up, and let it drip.
That sounds like what I want to do then.
Yeah, and if you put an LED in the tip on at the handle end, it will literally glow through the entire one.
That's spackle, sir.
Yes, but it's the spackle to wood.
Okay.
It's the wood spackle, so that's the polymer. Yeah, that works. It's a plastic.
And it's pink, and it turns white when it's dry.
Okay.
It's literally my product with a little more of the powder in it and less of the oil.
And I use that on I got it before now. I got one of the
Chris, you need to be quiet. I had that mic on, and they heard every moan and groan.
I thought that was me. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was me. I got to finish this.
Oh, okay.
This had some holes in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I spackled it. I haven't painted it yet. It's just one of my things. It should have looked like this.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that. Drew, what was that?
This is the stand
For the bird of prey.
for this. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Thematically very appropriate.
I kind of thought you'd recognize it right away, Rick. Just saying.
Oh, I knew it was Klingon, but I wasn't sure.
No, I thought you'd recognize it as a stand because of the batlet sitting right there.
Yeah, no. Okay, does it sound funny that I thought it was a sundial?
Yeah.
No, it could pass as one, but I didn't know the Klingon had them.
Or something like that. So,
I need to finish this knife.
Sometime this week, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Considering I
accidentally
printed
yell
it before SYFY Bartow last year.
Yeah, I know.
Jeff, what did you want to ask?
Yeah, I just said that I accidentally didn't mute me yelling at Chris.
You didn't mute when you
Nope.
yelled at Chris.
Okay, I thought I muted it. I actually did. I hit the
Hey,
button.
Jeff,
Huh?
That's why
we've
we
all
said I
had to
thought
deal
that
with
was
people.
us.
Don't worry about it. I thought it was me groaning. So
Yeah.
Sean
Yeah,
thought
they had to look down to see I was looking out that direction. So Chris came up behind me and he's getting something and he's going grunting and groaning.
Fran wants a dragon after seeing Ryan's dragon D&D collection that he just printed.
There are some beautiful dragons though that do
I'll take one, Frank.
the flexible kind.
Yeah.
You just literally pry off the thing, take out some support, and then they flop around.
I'm gonna be honest, Fran. For stuff that's like plaques and stuff like that, and the hard props, that's a preview of what they're working on in the 3D printing right now. The resin for the dragon is a little bit better because of the detail in the wings and all. And unfortunately, neither one of us have the resin yet. But the person that posted that picture, you should talk to him, Fran.
Somebody I know has a resin printer, but I cannot recall who does right now.
I will be right back.
But
I
don't
can make
remember
you
what
knives.
that is.
I can't make that dragon, unfortunately. I have tried the detail on these. But a certain RC
Well, that narrows it down to about 15 people.
but there's also 5 or 6 other people. I know even the person that's right now over all of us 3D printers, Josh has a resin printer. And some of the stuff that they printed, the details on it are amazing. the weapons and all that stuff are a little bit like the advantage of this, the FDM over the resin, is we dropped our dice tower and a little bit of spackle and paint, and it's back to what it was. If I did that with some of the resin prints, they would kind of chip away completely. So for tools and all, the FDM is stronger. The resin's better for the little action figures. And when I was first starting to play games, it was the Mech Warrior figures.
Yeah, I have a Black Knight that somebody printed for me.
But like I said, that will be either I'll be replacing a laptop or getting the resin set up next. But that's a year or so from now.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit at a time.
Yeah, I still have a space issue.
Well, I would say you could put it right behind you, but I've seen your shelves. They're full.
Time to build a cabinet.
Heck, I built a full desk.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would help if I had power in the basement, but I don't actually have power. Okay, I have a lighting in the basement, but I don't have outlets in the basement.
Are they a screw-in light bulb? What is that?
It's a bluegill.
It's a creature
It's a bluegill.
When did you print that?
from Conspiracy. And then I've got this to finish.
Ah, the Andromeda. Or I'm sorry, the
Earhart.
Earhart.
Yeah. To answer your question, yes, they are screw-ins, but they are 7 feet in the air in the middle of the room. So unless I want to run cable from those to put it there in my basement.
I'm just giving you an option. They have the screw in, and then you could do a hook beside them to actually attach the extension down. That way you can
Do
play
they do the
video
hook
games.
in a double? Or so do they do the hook in a grounded?
It would be grounded to the light. What I'm talking about is to take the weight off of the light plug-in.
I get that part of the equation, but the plugins, do they make them in grounded now? Because I'm used to the ones with the dual prongs, not the three prongs.
Let me look. I think
Because
they do.
the only problem is that you probably need a 3-prong.
Yeah. Now I've got to remember what the heck those were called. Are they called light bulb? Let's try light.
It's a
power
thing
plug.
I have seen because my grandparents owned them. Not
Yeah.
because I have bought one.
I would look for light socket outlet.
That sounds perfectly reasonable, John.
Thank you, John.
Anytime. I have a black belt in Google.
I have to agree with Donnie, though. I have never been in a hurricane.
Hell, I was in Birmingham, Alabama when Hurricane Katrina hit, and I was out looking for an open karaoke bar.
I'll tell you what, if it's not above a Cat 2 or 3, Florida parties while the hurricane's going through. So
John, that
Yes.
is the most John thing you've ever said. I could totally picture you doing that, though. Like, you don't have to convince me.
And all those candy asses closed everything up.
All the candy. I have been in a tropical storm once, but just once.
Yeah. One of the reasons that my ex-wife divorced me was because Hurricane Irene came through and just totally wrecked our section of the power grid. And the house was without power for 3.5 weeks in August.
Oh, that sucks.
And I missed the entire thing because the day after the hurricane came through, I flew to Kansas. For work, and I stayed there for like a month.
Well, then.
There you go.
That's
it.
Interesting.
It's on Amazon.
Yeah, I see that. I can tell. I can see it.
Yeah.
I don't even need the Prime logo. I'm like,
I was on Walmart's page and I decided to search to see if I could find it elsewhere.
well, Amazon would probably work better for me anyways because of just things, right?
Yeah. So you have options. It's just how much work you want to put into it.
That's a good point.
And
no one has accused me of being a kind of crafty, hardworking, handyman.
so whoever built the workshop onto this house, they put a fan right underneath of the only plug-in, which is in the roof of this shop. I'm like,
that would seem to defeat the purpose of a shop.
I looked at it, I was like, okay. And thus the screwing in the thing for the cord.
Yeah, I personally I don't know a lot about shops, but you want if at all possible, that band thing where you can sort of snap your sockets in, kind of thing where you can run it all the way along the back of your setup for the
Pegboard.
shop. No, not pegboard. Like where you can put an electrical outlet and you can just snap electrical outlets in, or not.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's a big strip and then it's electric powered, and then you can just
the industrial strip.
Throw them wherever you want, right? That's what I would put into a shop.
Yeah.
I mean, me having a shop is probably a bad idea because I am a klutz. I still have all my fingers.
They do reattach them now,
So
that's true.
Honest, I've never cut any of them off. However, one of the pastors that I went to church with was like this.
Yeah. My grandfather had like this on one ring finger, and I think it was his middle finger. He'd basically taken the tip off it.
Hey, look, we got another guest.
Uh-oh. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Richard. How are you, dear?
Hello, Sarah.
Fine.
Hi, Sarah.
There's another one.
There's funny. There's an admiral.
2 for 1 special.
What a bargain! What a value!
I've always wanted a shop. I've just, I live in a row house. There's no realistic way of doing construction in my house without just.
See, some of the projects I need for my house are not conventional because we have tiny, strange takeaways of space. And so it makes it very interesting. Oh, we can't just buy this to put it there because with what space? So
That's what the
I've seen how-
sledgehammer's for.
Fran asks you, how is Alex, dearest?
He's right there. It can't
Well,
be
he
too
was not
bad.
looking so.
Well, he appears to be conscious and ambulatory. That's about all we can ask for.
Oh,
Hi, Fran. I'm doing good.
No,
oh.
How was Fran?
Unfortunately,
How is the Fran?
well, she keeps asking us questions, so she must be at least cognitive and able to manipulate a typing device.
Or at
Unless
least
he's using
voice
speech
to
text.
text. Anyway, those exist.
Yeah.
I've
For
used
those-
them on occasion.
Well, for those of us who can't type and are therefore, communicatively challenged, speech to text is extremely useful.
Well, ask Drew how many voice clips I send him when I need to communicate with him. I go, Drew!
Pretty much. It's either that or hey, and I usually get it about 3 hours later because
And
I've
it
been
literally
busy doing
says
something else.
HEA.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yo, yo, yo.
And Alex, there is your answer from Fran. Fran is good. So, what is going on in people's lives?
We want to know what kind of cons or events you guys got scheduled and are doing.
Well, I showed you pictures of me getting choked by a clown. What more do you
Yeah.
want?
Oh, so
Tomorrow
Alex
morning.
says, I remember Alex from my team as CS.
Turn.
My husband is very hard to forget, but I'm terribly biased, you know?
I can't imagine why you're biased.
I think
I
that's
don't
part of the contract.
I don't have the faintest idea why I'm so biased. I just, no idea.
Well, it's important you recognize your bias. So you get.
If you can
Yeah,
recognize your bias, you have a inkling of being able to see the shape. If you know the shape of your bias, sometimes you can work around it. But it's a process.
I mean, if you choose to work around it, I mean, some
Yes.
things don't require working around.
Some biases, that is very optional. Others, they are more necessary. So,
I don't think anyone I don't think anyone faults your bias towards Alex.
I might have a thing or two to say if it were a problem. Hello, Donnie. How are you, honey?
So me and Drew are going to an arts and a crafts show tomorrow.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
But we're going to be endorsing SYFY Bartow and BartowCon, which are next year.
So Alex wants to know more about SYFY Bartow. I was telling him about it the other night, and he wants to know more. Please, Drew.
Okay, all he has to do is call me. You guys got my number.
Sounds like work.
Wait, I can share it with him? You mean?
I told you to give it to him when I gave it to you.
And for everybody else, there will be a Q&A with Drew on the next news broadcast from the engineers.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, because I've been swamped busy in Google with SYFY Bartow and SOS, which is the people promoting it. So we're working with them tomorrow.
I hope you have loads of fun, and I will be with you in spirit.
Well, it's not so much fun. It's we're trying to get more and more people interested in coming out and doing something with science fiction.
I would probably consider coming if it weren't 1,000+ miles from me.
To walk around the park.
Yeah,
You can go play at Legoland afterwards.
Get better
It's on the
transportation
same
on the
coast as you.
affordable transportation on this little pebble, and then we'll talk.
Tell Alex to get to work on a transporter. You keep telling me to do it. It's his turn.
Alex, chop chop.
He's the advanced design guy, not me.
No,
I'm just a
advanced
wrench twister.
See, I'm sure.
design is
I'm
stuff.
sure if you planned ahead and talked to Drew, he might be able to pick you up
See,
from
the
the
trick
airport.
is working out the Heisenberg compensation. Once we get that, we're golden.
Can you
Sean,
make
you
it
forget
go?
where I live. He can't just pick me up that easily.
If you could come up with a Heisenberg
You
compensator,
just have
yes,
to make
you
it
could
to
make
the
it work.
airport
It's
in
coming
Orlando.
up with that.
And get hit by the heat and lit blanket that is Florida.
Yeah, but isn't it in February? It shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah. February is kind of blah-hoo.
It is almost Tori and I's birthday, though. We don't share a birthday, but we have the same
They
birthday.
share the
And what's
same
your
month.
birthday?
The first.
Oh,
Yeah, so she's already 25.
I know for a fact that I'm older than you, so my birthday happened first on October 14th. So
My birthday happened before all of you, except Jeff.
I'm
and the
older
first
than I look.
indoor
I'll give you that.
BartoCon will be on my birthday.
I think Jeff and I are within a year or two of each other, but the rest of you kids, we don't want to hear it.
All right.
Drew,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know perfectly well
do.
why my body feels older than it chronologically is. Don't give me that.
That's because I work at Walmart, is why mine does.
Drew, we know you were there for the founding of Rome.
No, he was there for the Great Flood.
You're both wrong. I was there for the founding of Mesopotamia. That first
we
building
cannot
was
hear you.
a
You are
witch to
muted
build.
here.
And the ziggurat, don't get me started.
Fran said she trumps all of us.
Yeah, well, that's fine. She does.
She's only 35. I don't want to hear it from Fran.
I have to admit that
You're
I
just a
have a
cute
number
kid
of
as far as
friends
I'm
whose birthdays are Jan 4.
So recently, for me, my insurance decided to pull one of the meds that I use for two of my conditions and pull it off of the formulary. So I'm left scrabbling to get a replacement, and I'm
Well, you know.
So
you
you
stop
have to
that
have your
formula, you
doctor
don't have to worry.
actually send them stuff that says that this is the only meds that will work for it.
there are other things that can work, and I've been on this particular one for a number of years. So
Well, that's just it. If it's one that
some
they
level of
know
equilibrium.
absolutely works for you, the doctor can demand it and the insurance will have to cover it. It's
Right.
just it works.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can get, but that's an annual process I have to do to say, give me the fucking drug.
Yes,
Yeah, it's always a
PA, no
pain
big
when
deal.
they do that.
Carol does PAs in 15 seconds, about 50 a day.
Maybe I need to tap on Carol and one of her psychiatrists and
Actually, all it takes is someone in your doctor's office to say, yes, they need it. It's over. My
that
doctor
reminds
sends
me.
a PA with every one of my prescriptions.
Hmm.
She says,
Yeah,
this
that-
boy's allergic to almost everything. I can't take any chances with him.
I get the same excuse, except it's from the massive amounts of medications I take, and there's so many possible interactions with other stuff that they don't dare mess with my meds.
The medication that I'm talking about had a known interaction between another medication that I've been on for another number of years as well. And the prescriber of the other medication, because it's a different specialty than the one I was just talking about, he goes, oh, you're taking that, so you can't have this. And I'm going, if you'd bothered to ask, I've been doing this for years and I'm aware of it, and it's not going to be a problem because of X, Y, and Z. And when the doctor of the first medication that I was referencing found out what he had done, she was infuriated And I would have liked to be a fly on the wall when she gave him a piece of her mind of what the do you think you're doing, taking her off of that without talking to her. And she knows about it. It's not going to be a problem. Put her back on it now.
Dang, Drew left. I was fixing to say they must work at Winter Haven. All the doctors at that hospital did the same thing.
It sounds like his primary is a good one. And I've had some good ones, and I've had some really terrible ones.
I wasn't talking about his primary. I'm talking about the hospital doctors are idiots.
Hospitalists, they can't get their own stuff together to save their lives. Because none of them talk to each other, and none of them apparently know how to read a patient chart.
So all of my doctors in general now are under Princeton Medicine or Penn Medicine.
Half of the doctors in Winter Haven want to give Drew stuff he's allergic to.
Read the chart. Just read the freak chart.
Wait. Doctors don't read charts. Nurses read charts. Come
Yeah,
on.
nurses save their
How
little
this works.
No, they don't.
pieces. What were you saying, Drew? You're muted, dear one.
In 1 year, I went to 8 doctors.
Well, that beats
don't
my
know.
3 times.
And that's because every time I walked in, they're like, oh, you got to take this. I can't take that. Why? I have the most extreme reaction. Oh, that's just in your head. Well, technically, yes, I have homicidal and suicidal thoughts when I take that medication. I cannot take it. It's the most extreme of the side effects. Oh, we'll just give you a higher dose. Bye.
That does not sound like a rational.
And then the best genius I ever had, I walked in because the insurance company changed it on me. Dumped the doctor that I go back to now because I changed insurance companies. And he says, so you have post-polio syndrome? I said, yes, I do. On top of several other things, yes. He goes, see, that doesn't really exist.
Seriously? Oh, it doesn't.
He says, what you need to do is see a psychiatrist.
But it does exist.
He said, you need to see a psychiatrist because obviously you're insane. Bye. He said, until then, I want you to take these 3 medications. Now, all of them were nerve medications. And then on top of that, he threw Thorazine, and I threw the prescriptions at him. I said, I'm going back to Maria. Bye.
That is the one thing that I appreciate about the system here, is that the government can't tell you what doctor to go to.
I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today who lives up there, Richard, not in Alberta, but in Canada. And she lived in Manitoba. No, I'm not talking about Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany, if you're watching this, I love you. You probably can figure out who I'm talking about. It's adorable, Drew.
Yes, it's from
Yes, I fully recognize what it is.
It's from Conspiracy, The Next Generation.
Yes, they're right there to control. Yes.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Bang down. You can talk. I'm just going to show stuff.
So I was talking to her today, and she lived in Manitoba, but she wanted to go after getting her master's degree. So for her, it was as simple as finding a college that would take her with her interest for what she wanted to go after for her master's and pick up and go. It wasn't of, will my insurance be there? Will it cover me? Blah, 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 blah. It was just, oh, floop, floop, done.
Yep.
The one thing she found, because she moved to Ottawa, Manitoba covers prescriptions.
Yeah,
Ottawa does not.
Yes, because medical is a provincial responsibility because the Fathers of the Confederation were stupid.
Yeah, there's a friend of hers that apparently stays in Manitoba because there's expensive life-saving medication that is covered in Manitoba. And if she were to ever move, she'd be up a creek.
Yeah, it's so we are. There has been talk about this for decades, but there's been talk about both dental and
Vision.
medicine becoming part of the federal provincial agreement, because it's sort of a shared thing because both governments pay into the pot.
Right.
So like
the local and the federal, I guess.
No, the local or the province and
federal and state.
Yeah, because when you say local, you mean cities.
I meant state. Yes.
Yeah, state. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
or province in your case.
Yeah. So they made the agreement originally in the 60s, and it's been modified several times. So basically, the feds say you will guarantee X, and then the provinces can then within the system decide that yes, we're going to cover that. No, we're not going to cover that, but we have to maintain this minimal amount of stuff. So basically, all life-saving stuff is covered. Most of semi-elective, like i.e., it has a health benefit. As long as it has a health benefit, it's covered. When you start getting into the cosmetic area, you escape it, much like your own. But some provinces have a basic eye care. Some provinces don't. Some provinces cover certain people for various conditions. Like most provinces have some form of subsidy once you reach what I'm just going to use as retirement age, but the provinces can sort of dicker with it. I think in some provinces it's 60, 65, and I think some.
So I had a question then. If you got a wild hair up your and decided to go to BC for a couple days, doing whatever you do in BC, you somehow manage to injure yourself and need to go to hospital.
Yeah.
It's just, you live in BC or Alberta. You're covered.
It's a billing. In the country, it's just simple billing. I mean, technically, I also have travel insurance because my company gives us travel insurance. But,
right.
If you are a Canadian citizen, which would be the slight caveat, because it depends. It can depend on what you're getting done, whether or not a non-citizen has to pay it back. Although our rates are a little more reasonable than the American system, or often the American system.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that because that's going to get me in trouble, and then Drew's going to. Yeah.
What do you mean? All of this was
talking
supposed
about
to be
highway
covered.
robbery
I just
that we
got
pay
a
down
piece
here?
of paper telling me I owe him $5,864.
Go ahead.
I'll be perfectly honest. I have actually used the American system. I used it in Hawaii, which is what I'm told one of the better states to use it in.
It is.
And this was a while ago. When was this? 20.
I know that year.
Yeah. So 2012, I went to emerge near Kona in Hawaii on the Big Island. The most reasonably priced thing that wasn't medication, because I ended up with some medication too, which was relatively cheap. But the most reasonably priced thing was the $248 X-ray.
The what fee?
It's $200 odd dollars for an
$248 X-ray.
Reasonable.
That was it?
No. I had a 2000. Let's just call it $2,000 15-minute visit in the Emerge with a doctor.
I had a bill for $250 for self-medicated medicine.
So the I'll tell you a funny story. For this, I'll name the medications because it'll make it more interesting, and I don't take them in the same way anymore, so I don't mind mentioning what they are. This is, for both of these, I had my doctor write a prescription because it was before I moved up here. Are they available over the counter? Yes. Was it cheaper for me to get it as a prescription? Yes. And I'll tell you why. The two medications, I'll explain a little bit about them and then, yeah. One was meclizine. Common brand names include Dramamine, Antivert. It's usually done in a patch that people wear behind their ear for motion sickness. You see it most often for people on a cruise that get really seasick, etc., or those that any kind of going this kind of movement in a car and they're just like, oh no, kind of situation. So they prescribe meclizine. It's available over the counter. Before I moved up here, as a prescription, it cost me $3 for any prescription. And the pharmacist took one look at the prescription, because it was sent electronically, and gets rid of it because, oh, that's available over the counter. Obviously, I don't need to fill that. Without talking to me first. Is it available over the counter? Yes. It would have cost me $20 or more to get a reasonable amount that I needed for a therapeutic dose because the dosage is different. The second thing is vitamin D. There are three main forms of vitamin D. D1, D2, and D3. D1, while it is naturally occurring, it's not very bioavailable. D2 is completely synthetic and not bioavailable, so it's usually prescribed in large doses. D3, the most naturally occurring and most bioavailable, is the best choice for people that need to supplement their vitamin D for whatever reason. It is one of the oil-soluble vitamins, so if you take too much of it, you can't just pass it through your body. You have to take a chelating agent to defecate it out. That's awesome, Donnie. So, because of that, when my vitamin D levels were quite low, it can be prescribed for the vitamin D2 is 50,000 units, either once a week or once a month, depending on how low you are, and a few other things, but it requires blood tests to make sure that you don't get too high and need the chelating agent. Yeah, the pharmacist took one look at the prescription and just put it in the bin because, oh, available over the counter. I would have paid more than a C note to get enough of a dose if I'd followed the over-the-counter method.
And technically, you could have had that pharmacist license right then.
I could have. This is why you always talk to the patient and find out more information.
Okay. Unfortunately, me and Drew both have to get up and out and do a little bit of traveling. It's not too far, but to go.
I just read Marva Hicks passed away.
Huh?
Marva Hicks, the woman that played Tuvok's wife on DS9 on Voyager, she passed away too.
Oh.
2 days ago.
I haven't seen that.
But me and Drew do need to wrap it up.
You want to
unfortunately,
bet? You guys want to bail? I get it.
we have been on for an hour and a half.
It's been wonderful talking to everyone, fleeting as it may be.
But we'll be having our next show on the 4th week, and before that, I believe
this
there
is
will
the
be
4th week.
This is the 4th week.
Oh, Jesus.
It's in 3 weeks, Sean.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
The second week of October. Sorry.
Yeah, the second Friday in October. That's the next show. I know. I went and looked at a calendar before we went on air because I wanted to make sure that I was right.
You got the Jetsons' 60th anniversary too. But before the show, we will be doing some live broadcasting from, from Victoria's party, so everybody can check out the stuff and see what's going on. And also, I'd like to say happy, I believe it's 5th anniversary to the Andromeda, who will be having their little celebration on the 7th and coming to join us at the birthday party on the 8th. So,
yeah, it should be the next show should be on the 14th.
The 14th.
So the next
Really?
time I see you all, I will have done another loop around our Daystar.
Just practice that. Because if I'm going to come on my birthday, y'all better sing. Just kidding on that, but yeah, the next show will be on my birthday.
I don't think we can sing that on broadcast because of copyright laws.
As long
No,
as we're not making
that
money
went
off of it.
to public domain about 10 years ago.
Yep.
Did they finally?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's public domain as long as you're not making money due to it.
Yeah.
I don't see a red cent here, you know? I can tell you that much. I know that me and Drew have spent money to make sure that we could broadcast.
Way too much money.
As a matter of fact, let's see. Drew's light so that when I'm in my room broadcasting when we're separate, you can see me. We got a light at. We got 3 or 4 lights now in the bar,
5.
and new cameras and microphones and a new
All kinds of fun stuff.
His has a computer for the broadcast built in that he got for it. So, trust me, I'm not making any money off the broadcast. So, but yes, like I said, the Andromeda has got their 5th anniversary.
Congratulations, Andromeda.
And
Yes.
I do want to say something special about that ship. Before Jesse, they actually had a special needs captain.
Oh,
So
Damn nice guy, too.
that ship was started by a special needs person. So anybody that has a one-off command structure like that, please let us know, because we want to highlight those type of groups that are being inclusive and being outside of the norm. So, happy 5th anniversary to Andromeda. Anybody that has an anniversary and is in chat, let us know, because we want to wish you a happy anniversary as well. So, have a blessed 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, sorry. And live long and prosper.